Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you pretty late on a Thursday. It's about 9:45 at night. And, I've talked in a few recent videos about the fact that I'm going to be holding a garage sale. This is just kind of part one of the video, and I kind of wanted to show kind of the transition point of about being halfway ready to set up, items here. So, luckily, I had some big boxes that I could put some large items in, and I know my handwriting on these is not the best, but uh, at least the things are, you can read what the prices are for those things. Those are obviously probably my highest dollar items that's going to be in the garage sale. This has some value too. I'm trying to sell this small air compressor for 25. And the other somewhat valuable thing is this blender that's basically still brand new in a box. Most of this stuff is not that high value. A lot of it is $5 or $1 or several of a quantity for $1. So really the primary reason to kind of even have a garage sale isn't really necessarily financial. It's more about just getting decluttering, getting rid of a lot of stuff, right? And there is some financial benefit to it. It's because obviously if you just donate it, um, you're not getting any money back for it. So it is definitely more work now. Is it worth quote an hourly wage considering the amount of work that's gone into this? Because I've put in so far before making one penny from this. This represents at least this state of the work. We're probably about, if I had to guess, my total amount of time spent on this so far, maybe, and that includes decluttering the basement, basically getting to this point, maybe somewhere between 10 to 12 hours of my labor. And so, my wife, too. My wife, as soon as I was done with the decluttering aspect of it, she did help out, basically you know, do a lot of this work too. So she's put in some hours as well. But yeah, it's definitely not primarily financial, but it is good to get rid of things. The next part of this video, I am going to show off the kind of the final configuration of how this looks. I'm going to obviously have to finish pricing everything and kind of present this in a more, what's the word I'm looking for, desirable fashion instead of just kind of strewn about. Everything's going to be much more organized by the time I'm done. But it's Thursday, so I stopped for the day. But tomorrow's Friday, so I can definitely go later. Basically, I'll go till it's finished, and then I'll show you guys. We'll do a video at that point, and then of course the final video showing how much is left after the garage sale. Let's hope it happened. Plus, I will talk about ultimately how much money I made. So that's pretty much it for this part. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, folks, here we are Friday night. It's, I don't know, 9 something p.m. I've got everything basically ready to go for the garage sale. And sadly, on the sign that says garage sale, that I'm going to put on this ladder, I have to say ladder not for sale because, well, people aren't very bright. So I'm just going to show you guys when I do a quick walk around here so you can see kind of how this looks being set up. Obviously, there is a whole lot of stuff to sell. That's it. This is basically the before the sale happens. I have no idea, obviously, how much of this stuff I'm going to successfully sell versus how much is going to be left. Clearly, I'm hoping that most of this stuff, or as close to all of it, can be gone as possible by the time I'm done. So, wish me luck. The next part of this will be, you'll see basically what's left, and I'll talk about how much money I made, which, considering the amount of work I put in, won't be nearly enough, but whatever. Anyway, that's it. See you guys soon. Well, folks, here we are. It's about 12:30 p.m. A bit more than, I'm not even halfway through the garage sale yet, and as you can see, there's still a whole lot of items left. So far, I've only made $20. This is an extremely disappointing waste of time so far. Just to give you an idea of what the weather's like. As you can see, it's a nice clear day. It's, I don't know, maybe it's about 60 degrees out here or so. So it's fall, it's brisk, but yeah, I've definitely will not have another garage sale ever during the fall again. What I plan on doing is I'm going to the small ticket items that don't cost very much. Obviously, I'm going to just they're just going to get donated all in one fell swoop. And the larger items I will try to sell, individually and see what I can recoup from them. Not imagining much, but yeah, if I'm thinking about what I probably made from all this, it's probably about 50 cents an hour if we're looking at an hourly rate, considering the amount of work that I put into this. So, exceptionally disappointing day. So, I'll give you guys an update when we're all done. See you soon.
All right, folks, here I am with some final thoughts on, the whole garage sale fail, as we'll call it. Basically, like I said earlier in the video, you should never primarily do this as a financial venture. It's not really a good way to make money per se. And I still clearly hold to that because this obviously financially was a complete and utter failure. Just no other way to put it. Um, Complete failure, complete waste of time if we're looking at this financially. But I'm looking at it in a couple of ways. I'm looking at it as a lesson learned. This is only the third yard sale I've ever had in my entire life, right? So yard sale number one, I actually did fairly well on that one. I made about $400 or $500 actually, so I did really well on that one. But I learned because that was the first one I ever did. I did it on a Saturday and a Sunday. I made all of my money on Saturday and not any on Sunday, right? I was, so clearly that was a well earned lesson. And that first one was during peak garage sale season, which is spring and summer, obviously. So that was lesson number one. The second garage sale that I ever had, it was a Saturday only, and it was also during peak season, so spring or summer. And on that one, I made maybe 100 and some odd dollars, maybe 200. Right? It wasn't a lot, not nearly as much as my first one. The reason I made so much on my first one is because I had a whole lot of old electronics to sell, right? And those are obviously going to go for way more money than the vast majority of other items at garage sales. So that's why I did so much better in the first one versus the second one. So this one that I just had, obviously I had learned the lesson about, because realistically, what I expected to earn was maybe 100 some odd dollars, hopefully two. That's where I was hoping to come in at, right? That was, quote, my expectation, right? And based on previous history. And I didn't think that was completely unreasonable given what I was trying to sell, yada, yada, yada. I thought that was definitely within the realm of possibility. However, a reality is I made $20, and I think the reason for that is because of the fact that I held the garage sale when it was, basically 60 degrees outside, right? That's Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. Sorry. Um, yeah, it was not very successful at all. Very disappointed, but lesson learned. I will only ever have a garage sale again if I decide to do it in the spring and or summer, right? But the financial aspect of it, of course, was not the most important. Decluttering my basement obviously was a giant reason for doing this. That was the primary reason. My primary reason was not I want to make money. The primary reason was I want to get rid of stuff. And essentially, I think that is what anyone should be who has a garage sale should think of it as. Don't think of it as I'm going to make a lot of money on this junk that's been just taking up space in my house for however many years or decades or whatever. That's the wrong way to approach it. The right way is to think to yourself, okay, I've got to, you know, um, think about getting rid of these items and just recouping some of the costs. It's definitely not never primarily a money making venture. And if you follow the two lessons that I learned the hard way, one is never do it on Sundays and don't do it outside of the peak season, right? I think if you follow those rules, you'll probably do just fine. I'm not going to go over all the prep and all that because that's just kind of silly. Now, I do have to tell a story about how I actually got rid of the items because it's a little bit amusing and is a tale worth telling. So, anyway, during the garage sale, when I was speaking to someone, they said, "Are you going to give your items to Goodwill?" And I said, "No." I said, "I don't like Goodwill. I don't care for their practices of paying their disabled workers like only $1 an hour, and their CEO makes a couple $100,000 a year. I don't feel that that's right." So, that's basically it. That's why I don't want to donate to Goodwill. I see them as a donator of last resort, right? So I asked this person, I asked her, I said, "Hey, where would you recommend that I donate to?" And she said, "Well, there's the Open Door thrift store in Lawrenceburg, and they help the homeless and all that." I'm thinking to myself, well, that is most definitely a very worthy cause, right? Now, I've been in that thrift store once before, and I thought it was definitely one of those hoity-toity type of thrift stores where they had a lot of kind of high-priced items. Now they did have a fair amount of cheap stuff too, but it was definitely one of the more hoity-toity type of thrift stores I've ever been in my life. I was not very impressed by it, so that's why I've only ever been in there once. But I thought, hey, if they help the homeless, I will definitely try to contribute to that. So I went there and pulled around the back, and a person came out to look at what we were donating. And you saw how much it was. It was the entire truck full. In fact, I filmed that segment in back of their building, right? And so they said, "We can't take this." They said, "We've already had two large, trucks deliver this already. We just can't take this. You'd have to call and make an appointment." And I'm like, thinking to myself, I get where they're coming from, right? It's like, I understand they may be overwhelmed with inventory right now, but it's also the type of store that they are. I feel that plays into it a lot as well. They probably are just like, oh God, more, you know, maybe they ought to sell or change their tactics. This is what they actually try to sell slash pass on to other charity, whatever. I don't know. I don't know their processes, but the fact that they literally just were like, no, we can't take any of this. You have to come back, blah, 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 kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, especially since she seemed to have a little tiny bit of an attitude in the way she put it. And she's like, "But you can try." She did give us one bit, very useful bit of information. She said, "You can try mom and pop's thrift store across the street." So I was like, okay, so we get back in the vehicle, go over to mom and pop's thrift shop. The owner's there. This is the first time I've ever been in this thrift shop or to this thrift shop. The owner comes out. He's a really nice older guy, probably in his late 50s, early 60s, somewhere like that. In his, so he's older, but not, ancient, right? He's definitely an older guy though. Super nice dude. And I showed him what I had. I said, he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "We can, if you can pull around the side of the building, we'll take it all into the basement." I was like, fantastic. So I go down there. Of course, I help unload the stuff into a storage room in the basement, and we're just chit chat and BS. And again, super nice dude. I can't say enough good things about this guy. Awesome guy. So anyway, after we get the stuff put into the basement, of course I pull up, and then of course I park because of course I'm there. I'm gonna take a look at his store. So, how I said how impressed I was with this, I really mean how like super impressed. Like, it was extremely clean, extremely well organized. Everything was priced very well. He actually had some what I would call high-end items that were very affordably priced. He had the things that caught my eye the most, and I will, when I'm done finishing the basement, I know I'm going to go back probably for one of these. And I don't even really need one of these, but I don't know. My curiosity is getting the better of me, and he has such good ones in good condition for such a good price. What I'm talking about are vintage computers, like early 2000s iMacs and whatnot. He even had like the G4 one that that's on the ball base, and it's telescopic. Everything completely worked, and for literally right around $100. I was amazed by that. That's not what I bought today or from him. No, I bought some action figures. Let me see if I can show off the more expensive of the two. Oh, actually, wait, I got both of them handy. Oh, okay, I guess I only got one handy. But anyway, I wanted to show off this guy. This is a very rare He-Man action figure. It's from the 2000X He-Man line. Regularly on eBay, it goes for anywhere from, like $60 to $80, right, is the typical selling price of that item on eBay. He sold it to me for $50. Stand up. I am just so happy because, it was definitely worth the price that he was asking, at least to me. I think it's a very sweet looking at. So the fact that this guy has two of my weaknesses, tech and action figures, really good action figures, which I've never ever seen in a thrift store in my entire life up to this point. Well, I'm probably going to be going back to his place next week for because the items, in quote higher priced items, I'm going to try to sell. If they don't move at all, right? If they just sit here for another week, odds are I will be going back to his shop next week to donate, the quote higher end items, right? And the odds that I'll buy something else, pretty high. So not only am I donating to this dude, I'm buying off, I'm buying off a lot of his wares. So, I'm not sure what his charity is. We didn't really even talk about that. We just, goofed around and all that. I know he's some sort of charitable thing. I just don't know what proceeds or percentage or any of that because it doesn't really matter. But anyway, super nice dude. I really liked it, and the top-notch quality in the shop, the whole 9 yards. So I am very, very happy about the whole thing. So anyway, that is pretty much it. I hope you guys like this, and I hope you learned something. As always, live long, prosper, keep on rocking, and I'll see you guys pretty soon.